I'm going to show you some results of the marbling that I've done today, and this has all been done using food colouring, alcohol and salted water. So we have everything from the extremely subtle to the not so subtle, depending on how dilute the colours were. Now on some of these you'll see some splotches, and that's because I've got salt deposits on where I've not rinsed them off yet. I just dried them off as they were without rinsing. But you can get a wide variety of effects, but you just cannot control what you're going to get. If you want the more controlled, more regulated pattern type marbling, then I suggest you actually do research other methods that use other thickening agents and speciality inks rather than what you've got lying around. But if you want to try this out and see if you like it without having to spend any extra money, if you've got food colouring around and some salt and some rubbing alcohol, then this will provide you with a pretty fun result. Now, if you don't want to use a photographic paper, you can do it with normal paper or card. The difference is it takes ages to dry because obviously you're dunking it in water. And you can also do that by using dilute acrylic paints. Now, I haven't used them on this card because it doesn't adhere as well. The dyes on here actually sink into the surface of the card. If you're doing it with acrylic, they lie on the top and you can't dry them off quickly, and they're not quite as durable as these would be. It can be done, it's just not quite as easy to do it that way. So as you can see, different colours, different effects, and yeah, it's a really fun technique. So if you don't want to pull out any money to try it, then use my method, and if you like it enough to bother, you can then get yourself sorted out with some more expensive kit later. Marbling paper with common ingredients that you might have at home and therefore don't actually have to buy any extra ingredients to do it is definitely good fun, and I have done a couple of videos. I've actually made a couple of videos on this morning already, but I've been refining the process and the ingredients, and so you probably won't actually get to see the other videos. This will be probably the one and only. Anyway, it doesn't take much. I have in here 1/3 of a cup of normal salt, doesn't matter what salt, whether it's table salt, cooking salt, whatever, just 1/3 of a cup, and 2 cups of boiling water. I mixed them together and dissolved the salt, and then I poured some into this container here, put a piece of paper underneath it, and this is now lukewarm. You don't want to do it with very hot water. Doesn't matter if it's cold, but you don't want to do it with very hot water, particularly if you're doing anything like this with children. The other things that you will probably want is a cup or something with some water in to rinse brushes, and as it happens, I've just got some water in this container because I forgot to fill my cup. Some rubbing alcohol. This is available in every supermarket in Spain, and I believe you can get it in chemists if you're in the UK, and you can get it in the supermarkets if you're in the States, I believe. So I've got some tweezers just to help me to pick things out of the water. I've got a packet of photo paper. Now, I don't know about you, but we don't actually print photographs of these days. And I got loads of paper this size and the A4 sheets, and it's basically sat doing nothing because we don't print. But very handy for card making. I have some brushes, and I have a metal dental tool which I'm going to use to swirl patterns in my paint. You could use a toothpick or you could use the end of the brush. I just happen to have this. A piece of paper towel to wipe things on comes in handy. Protect your table or whatever surface you're working on, please. And the other ingredient I happen to have is a whole load of chroma food colouring. Now I use these for food colouring, I use them for airbrush painting. I do all sorts of things with my food colour, and it's usually not food related thinking about it, but they're very handy. And for a set of 12 of these, I think it was somewhere around about £17, something like that, I'm not sure. But it's cheaper to buy like that than it is to buy a lot of different inks, so why not? Now, if you don't have those, the chances are, if it's Christmas time and you do any baking, you maybe have some small little bottles of food colouring around for decorating biscuits or cakes and things, and you can use that. If you don't have that, but you are the arty type and you have watercolour inks, you can use watercolour inks. Now what I've done is I've put a few drops of colouring into my palette. If you don't have a palette, use small shot glasses maybe, or something of that nature. Something that is easy to clean, and glass is generally easy to clean from various colourings and it doesn't stain. And I just put in a few drops and added some alcohol to it. Now you can use the colours undiluted, but you will find a difference in the way that they spread and disperse on the water. And obviously it depends on how strong you want your colour as to how much you dilute it or don't dilute it. So that is up to your choice. What I'm going to do is just take one of my relatively large brushes, and I'm going to choose some colours, and I'm going to go for blue, teal and purple, I think, for this particular set. So I've got a well-loaded brush, and you can touch it to the surface like that, or if it's really well loaded, you can just let it dribble on like so. Don't do this without salt in the water because it will just sink to the bottom. I know, because I was trying it out yesterday. So I'm now going to wipe my brush off like that, wipe it in some water and go for my next colour, and I'm going to drop it inside this one. Now you don't have to do that, you could drop it somewhere else entirely different, but no, do what you want to do. The beauty of this is that every time you do a paper it will be different. There is nothing regulated about this. Yay, great fun. It's very relaxing, it's quite therapeutic. I think it's wonderful fun to do this. And I'm going to take a different brush because I want to use some yellow, and I don't want to get my yellow into my blue. There we are. I was going to use purple, wasn't I? Didn't I? Used yellow. Never mind. I'll go to purple next. Okay. Let's see what this does. Oops. Now this one is very dilute. Not much colour in this one, obviously. I've put more alcohol than colour in. Now you can flick it in if you so wish, like so. I'll make it do various things. And I'm going to go for some more teal, I think. And you just keep going on until you have as much colour on the top as you want. Now sometimes you might want little white gaps and other times you might not. It's up to you. I've got a fair amount of colour in there. So what I need to do now is to make some waves in this to make it move. And you can do flourishes like that. You can just wiggle things. You can do all sorts of weird and wonderful patterns. And you just take a piece of your photo paper, glossy side down, and place it on. Tap it to try and make sure you haven't got any air bubbles in it. And then lift up and let it drip. And there we have, oh, very pretty, a lovely marbled paper. Now, the advantage of doing this is that photographic paper doesn't actually take very long to dry unless you get it all wet on the back, because the coating actually protects it from the water. But the dyes, they stay in the coating of the paper. So the dyes won't move. The water on the top that's on there will move, but the dyes themselves won't, so you can't wreck it by touching it. And you can rinse that off underneath the tap and then let it dry. Or you can actually take a paper towel and dry it off. So that is the advantage of, or one of the advantages of using a photographic paper to do this. So I want to introduce a bit more purple to this, so I'm going to take my purple food colouring and add a whole bunch more, or a whole load more purple into that mix, and see if I can get some purple going on. Right, let's. Okay, I think I've got enough colour in that one. This time I'm going to use a coffee stirrer to move things around a little bit. You can get some very interesting patterns just by sort of flicking the water from the outer edge to the inner edge. Like so. And again, we want to pretty much drop this on here and tap. Occasionally you'll get an air bubble underneath it, but you know, it's all part of the fun. And then lift up and rain. And then you turn it over and you get the reveal. So that one's a very subtle marbled look. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. Take care now. Bye bye.